The city of Nova Orion was unlike any other place in the galaxy. Towering buildings made of glass and polished metal reflected the sunlight in dazzling patterns. Skyways connected the skyscrapers, and hovercrafts zipped through the air in perfect harmony. Below, in the lower districts, the streets were crowded and noisy, filled with market stalls and small workshops. The contrast between the sky-high towers and the ground below was stark, a clear reminder of the divide between the wealthy and the common people, among the elite of Nova Orion. No one was more famous or feared than Alaric Dane. He was a billionaire, a man whose intelligence, ambition, and wealth had made him the ruler of industries that spanned planets. He was tall, with sharp features and piercing eyes that seemed to see through anyone who dared to cross him. Despite his brilliance, Alaric had a reputation for arrogance. He believed intelligence was the domain of the rich and powerful, and he often mocked anyone he considered beneath him. In the lower district lived Maya, a 12-year-old girl with dark, expressive eyes and a mind that seemed to hold entire galaxies of knowledge. Her mother, Lena, worked as a maid in Alaric Dane's penthouse, cleaning floors, arranging flowers, and serving drinks at his lavish parties. Maya had grown up amidst books, old computers, and small mechanical devices her mother saved for her. She read everything she could find, from science manuals to historical records of great thinkers. Chess was one of her favorite games. She had learned it from a second-hand book she had found in the market. Over time, she became a prodigy, capable of seeing 10 moves ahead, predicting strategies and counter-strategies with perfect clarity. On a bright morning, the skyways above Nova Orion shimmered with sunlight. In the upper district, preparations were underway for one of Alaric's grand gatherings. The elite of the city had received invitations, and the penthouse glimmered with gold and silver decorations. Robots hovered around, polishing surfaces and serving drinks. The aroma of exotic foods filled the air, making it clear that no expense had been spared. Lena was busy in the kitchen, preparing to deliver drinks and snacks to the guests. Maya had accompanied her, carrying a tray filled with tiny glasses of sparkling juice. While Lena moved through the crowd, Maya quietly observed the room. She noticed the wealthy children, dressed in fine clothes, boasting about their achievements. Though most were little more than pretentious displays of confidence, then Alaric Dane himself entered the room. His presence commanded attention. Guests straightened up, some bowing slightly, others offering polite greetings. Alaric's sharp gaze scanned the crowd until it fell on a small group of children near the corner. They were the offspring of the city's richest families. And Alaric approached them with a smirk. "Intelligence is inherited," he said, his voice smooth but cutting. "No one outside the right circles can truly match us. Talent is in the blood, not in the common streets." The children nodded, some laughing nervously. Alaric's words echoed through the room. Maya, carrying the tray, stopped for a moment. She had heard such arrogance before, but it still made her blood boil. She stepped forward, her small voice clear and confident. "I would like to play a game with you, sir," she said, looking up at Alaric. The room went silent. All eyes turned toward her. Alaric raised an eyebrow, surprised. He had not expected a child from the lower district to speak directly to him. "And who might you be?" he asked, his tone a mixture of curiosity and amusement. "My name is Maya," she said. "I play chess." A ripple of laughter passed through the guests. Some of the children whispered to each other, smirking. Alaric chuckled softly, a sound that carried authority and amusement. "Chess, you say? Do you really think you can challenge me?" Maya nodded. Her eyes were steady, unwavering. "Yes, sir." "I can," Alaric laughed, a deep, confident sound. "Very well," he said. "We shall see if your confidence is matched by skill." He waved to one of his assistants, and a large, elegant chessboard appeared in the center of the room. The pieces were made of polished crystal, glowing faintly under the lights. Guests gathered around, whispering excitedly. A child from the elite group stepped forward to adjust Maya's chair, but she shook her head. "I can reach," she said simply. Alaric took his seat opposite her, a smirk playing on his lips. He moved his first pawn with ease, clearly expecting Maya to falter early. Maya, however, remained calm. Her small hands moved with precision, placing her first piece in perfect alignment. As the game progressed, it became clear that Maya was no ordinary child. She countered Alaric's aggressive moves with unexpected strategies. She anticipated his tactics before he executed them. Each move was deliberate, calculated, and elegant. The crowd watched in stunned silence, some leaning forward, unable to look away. Alaric's smirk began to fade. He moved his pieces faster, trying to force Maya into mistakes. But Maya's mind was a storm of calculation. She had seen patterns in chess before most adults could even recognize them. Every move she made forced Alaric into new positions, and soon even he began to feel the weight of her strategy. "You are clever, little one," Alaric said, a hint of respect creeping into his voice. "But cleverness alone is not enough." "I understand, sir," Maya replied. "That is why I plan every move carefully. Intelligence is not about being quick. It is about seeing the future." The words were small, but they carried weight. Guests exchanged glances, murmuring in awe. Some could hardly believe that a child could speak with such confidence and clarity. The game continued, each move raising the stakes. Alaric realized that Maya's understanding of chess was unlike anything he had seen. She was not just reacting to his moves. She was predicting the outcomes of multiple sequences in advance. He felt a mixture of admiration and unease. Finally, after several intense moves, Maya positioned her queen in a way that threatened Alaric's king on multiple fronts. He paused, realizing that his next move could lead to a trap. Maya's calm expression gave nothing away, yet the brilliance of her plan was evident. "Your move, sir," she said softly, her voice carrying through the room. Alaric leaned back, studying the board. He had encountered many challengers in his life, but none had ever anticipated his strategies with such precision. His pride wrestled with admiration. He decided to test her further. He executed a bold move, hoping to force her into error. Maya's eyes lit up. She had seen the trap coming and countered it effortlessly, turning the game completely in her favor. Gasps filled the room. Even Alaric's assistants could not hide their surprise. At that moment, Alaric realized he had underestimated her. He straightened, his expression shifting from amusement to a mixture of respect and disbelief. "How old are you?" he asked. "I am 12, Maya replied calmly. A hush fell over the room. 12. The child who had just outplayed one of the greatest minds in the city was only 12. The realization stunned the audience. Whispers spread like wildfire. The story of the Black Maid's daughter defeating a billionaire was already forming in their minds. Alaric's pride burned, but it was tempered by fascination. He had been defeated not by luck or chance, but by true genius. "You are remarkable," he said, his voice quieter now, almost reverent. Maya nodded, a small smile on her face. She did not gloat, for she had learned that intelligence was to be respected, not flaunted. The crowd, witnessing this exchange, felt a mixture of awe and excitement. For many, it was a lesson that brilliance could come from anywhere, not just wealth and status. After the game, guests moved on, but whispers continued. The story would spread throughout Nova Orion, reaching the ears of the powerful and the ordinary alike. Maya returned to her mother, her heart steady, knowing she had made a mark. She had proven that intelligence, courage, calm thinking could challenge even the greatest minds. As they left the penthouse, Lena looked down at her daughter with pride. "You were amazing," she said softly. Maya smiled, a quiet confidence in her eyes. "I only played the game, Mother. There is much more to learn." And in that moment, in the bright city of Nova Orion, a child genius had begun a journey that would challenge the elite, inspire the ordinary, and prove that true intelligence knew no boundaries. The city of Nova Orion had barely recovered from the astonishment caused by Maya's chess victory. By the following morning, the story had spread across both the upper and lower districts. In the lower district, people whispered about the Black Maid's daughter who had outsmarted the richest man in the city. Children in the streets replayed the game in their minds, imagining themselves making the moves Maya had made at home. Maya returned to her small, cozy room with a feeling of quiet satisfaction. Her mother, Lena, was cleaning while listening to the radio, which was buzzing with the latest news. "They are talking about you again," Lena said, her voice a mixture of pride and concern. "People are calling you a genius. They are calling you the chess prodigy who defeated Alaric Dane." Maya smiled faintly. "It was just a game, Mother. I only played what I saw." She placed her books carefully on the small shelf beside her bed. While chess was a passion, Maya knew that intelligence went beyond one game. Her curiosity stretched to everything around her: machines, systems, energy flows, even the patterns of society. Meanwhile, in the penthouse high above the city, Alaric Dane was awake long after the event had ended. His office was filled with holographic displays showing data streams from his many companies. Normally, he reveled in numbers, trends, and projections. But tonight, his thoughts kept returning to the girl who had humiliated him, yet impressed him in front of all the guests. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. "A 12-year-old," he muttered. "And yet she predicted my moves, anticipated my strategies. How is it possible?" His pride would not allow him to admit it, but part of him felt something new: admiration. He had never seen a mind so young with such precision and clarity. Alaric decided to investigate further. He directed his assistants to discreetly gather information about Maya. His goal was not to frighten her, or to claim her brilliance immediately. He wanted to understand the extent of her abilities. What he found surprised him. Maya was not only a chess prodigy. She had been building small machines, reading scientific journals meant for university students, and solving complex problems he had never expected someone her age to attempt. Over the next few days, Alaric became obsessed with Maya's progress. He observed from a distance as she experimented with mini robots she had built using discarded parts from the market. One robot moved across the floor, carrying small objects and sorting them by shape and size. Maya watched its movements carefully, noting errors and adjusting its programming with patience and focus. In the lower district, Maya's fame began to attract attention from her peers. Children and teenagers came to watch her work, asking questions about her projects. Some were fascinated by the small machines she built, while others tried to challenge her with simple problems, hoping to test her skills. Maya never dismissed anyone, she explained patiently, showing them that thinking logically and carefully was the path to understanding. One afternoon, a group of older children brought her a broken drone. "We heard you can fix anything," one of them said. Maya took the drone in her hands, studying its circuits carefully. She rewired some connections and adjusted the code controlling its sensors. Within minutes, the drone sprang to life, hovering smoothly above the ground. The children stared in awe. Maya handed the controls back to them. "It needed balance and the right instructions," she said simply. Word of her talent soon reached the ears of others in the city. Engineers, teachers, and even small inventors began to visit her workshop in the lower district. They were amazed not only by her skill, but also by her ability to explain complicated ideas in simple ways. Maya, who had always been curious about knowledge rather than fame, felt a growing sense of responsibility. Her abilities were a gift. She realized they could be used to make life better for those around her. Alaric, meanwhile, was planning his approach carefully. He could not ignore Maya's talent. If she were to develop fully, her ideas could surpass his own inventions and innovations. He had a reputation to protect. But he also knew that collaboration with a mind like hers could bring unimaginable progress to his companies. He decided to invite her to his corporate research lab. Offering her resources she could never access in the lower district, Maya received the invitation through her mother, who was hesitant but trusted her daughter's judgment. "Be careful, Maya," Lena said. "We do not know what they expect from you." Maya looked at her mother, calm and determined. "I will go, Mother, but only to test my ideas and learn. I will not let anyone take my work from me." The next day, Maya entered Alaric's corporate tower, a building so tall it seemed to pierce the clouds. She was guided through sleek corridors filled with holographic displays and robotic assistants. The lab was vast, with machines she had never seen before, screens projecting data streams, and workstations for scientists from every field. Alaric watched quietly from a distance, curious to see how she would react. Maya was not intimidated. She moved with confidence, inspecting the machines and asking intelligent questions. She quickly identified small flaws in some automated systems and suggested improvements. Alaric scientists, who were used to working with highly trained adults, stared in disbelief as a 12-year-old explained better solutions than they had imagined. "You see," Maya said to a group of engineers, "machines work best when every input is understood. If we ignore the patterns, errors grow over time. Observation is key." The scientists exchanged glances. Alaric, impressed, stepped forward. "You are extraordinary," he said quietly. "You see what most people overlook?" Maya looked at him with clear eyes. "I only notice what is in front of me. Understanding comes from careful study and attention. Genius is not about being smarter than everyone else. It is about working patiently and thinking ahead." Over the following weeks, Maya's projects began to expand. She developed small energy modules that could store and release power efficiently, mini robots that could assist in medical procedures, and algorithms that improved communication networks in the lower district. Each innovation was shared with those who needed it most. She did not seek fame or reward, but the results spoke for themselves. The people of the lower district began to see a new hope. Their neighborhoods, which had long suffered from energy shortages and malfunctioning systems, started to improve. Water pumps worked without interruption, drones repaired damaged structures, and power grids became more stable. Maya's inventions touched lives in ways the wealthiest of the city could not ignore. Alaric observed quietly, a mixture of pride and humility growing within him. He had expected to feel superiority over Maya, but instead, he felt challenged in a way he had never experienced. He realized that wealth and power alone did not make a person brilliant. True genius came from creativity, persistence, and the courage to think differently. One evening, as the sun set behind the skyscrapers, casting orange and pink hues across the city, Alaric invited Maya to a private conversation in his office. The room was vast, with a view that stretched across Nova Orion. He gestured toward the chairs. "Sit, Maya. I want to speak with you." Maya sat calmly, her hands folded neatly in her lap. Alaric studied her for a long moment. "I have watched your work," he said. "What you have accomplished is beyond what most adults could achieve. Your intelligence, patience, and creativity are remarkable." Maya nodded politely. "Thank you, sir. I only wish to help others and learn more." Alaric leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful expression on his face. "I must admit something," he said quietly. "When I first saw you at the chessboard, I thought it was a simple game. I underestimated you because of your age and your background. I see now that was a mistake. I wish to correct it." Maya looked at him, curious but cautious. "What do you mean?" "I want to offer you resources, access to technology, and guidance," Alaric said. "Not to control you, but to help you achieve your potential. Together, we could create innovations that change the city, the planet, even the galaxy." Maya considered his words carefully. She had always been independent, relying on her own knowledge and creativity. But she understood the opportunity this offered, tools and machines she could never access alone. She nodded. "I accept, sir. But I will always work for the people, not for power or profit." Alaric smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and respect. "That is why I admire you. Brilliance must always be paired with integrity." From that day onward, Maya's life changed. She worked in the lab, experimenting with advanced technology, developing new machines, and mentoring young minds who showed promise. Her fame grew not because she sought it, but because her achievements improved the lives of thousands. The lower district celebrated her. The elite watched her closely, and Alaric learned an invaluable lesson: intelligence. Creativity and courage could never be bought. They could only be nurtured, respected, and recognized. Maya, the Black Maid's daughter, had revealed her hidden genius to the world, and in doing so, she had begun a journey that would challenge the city's elite, inspire the common people, and prove that brilliance could emerge from anywhere. Maya's life had changed dramatically since she had impressed Alaric Dane with her chess skills. The city of Nova Orion buzzed with news of her abilities, and she now had access to the resources of Alaric's research lab. Yet despite the luxury surrounding her, she remained grounded. She lived simply, focusing on learning, experimenting, and helping people. Her mind was always in motion, filled with questions, ideas, and the drive to solve problems that others thought impossible. Each morning, she walked through the lab, inspecting devices, checking data, and observing experiments. Her young mind absorbed everything quickly, and her understanding of technology grew at a pace that startled even the most experienced scientists. Robots she had built for testing simple tasks became more advanced under her guidance. She designed drones that could survey damaged neighborhoods, medical assistants that could help with surgeries, and energy modules that could store solar power efficiently for poor districts. Maya's inventions soon began to have a tangible effect on the lower district. People who had suffered from unstable power now had steady electricity for their homes. Water systems that had broken down for weeks were repaired with machines Maya developed. Streets became safer as her small robots patrolled them, alerting authorities to hazards or assisting residents with tasks too difficult for them to manage alone. The children of the district looked up to her. They gathered in small groups around her workshop, eager to see what new ideas she would create each day. Maya encouraged them to think critically, to experiment, and to learn from mistakes. She showed them that intelligence was not something that could be inherited or bought, but something that could be cultivated with patience, curiosity, and determination. "See how this robot can sort objects?" she asked one afternoon, demonstrating a small machine. "It needs to follow the instructions carefully, step by step. If we try to make it do everything at once, it will fail. Thinking is the same way. Start with small steps, and the answers will appear." The children watched intently, absorbing every word. Some tried building their own machines using parts she provided. Maya guided them patiently, correcting errors and celebrating successes. Slowly, a new culture of curiosity and innovation began to grow in the lower district. Inspired by the young genius who had once been just a child delivering drinks at a billionaire's party. Meanwhile, Alaric Dane watched with quiet fascination. From his high tower, he observed the progress Maya had made and the influence she wielded over the people. At first, he had felt threatened by her abilities. A child from the lower district challenging the elite, creating inventions beyond their understanding, could destabilize the delicate balance of wealth and power. But now he saw something else, a spark of hope, force capable of uniting intelligence and morality in ways he had never imagined. One evening, Alaric invited Maya to discuss her projects in his office. The room overlooked the sprawling city below, lights twinkling as night settled in. Maya presented her latest work, a compact energy module capable of storing enough power to light several homes for a week. She explained its mechanism with clarity and precision. This could solve the energy shortage in the lower district. She said, "We can build multiple units and distribute them to homes that need electricity the most." Alaric leaned back, impressed. "You have already thought about logistics, impact, and social benefit. Most adults in my labs only consider profit or efficiency. You see people, not just numbers," Maya smiled. "Machines are tools, not goals. They should improve life, not just serve power or wealth." Inspired by her vision, Alaric provided her access to more advanced equipment, rare materials, and a team of scientists willing to assist. Maya worked tirelessly, combining their knowledge with her intuition and creativity. The results were remarkable. Miniature drones repaired buildings damaged by storms. Medical robots assisted doctors with complex procedures, and the energy modules powered entire neighborhoods reliably as news of Maya's inventions spread. More children and young adults from the lower district sought her guidance. They brought broken machines, sketches of ideas, and questions about science and technology. Maya welcomed them all. She believed that knowledge was not meant to be hoarded. The more she shared, the faster her district advanced. One day, she faced a particularly challenging problem. A water distribution system in the lower district was failing constantly. Engineers sent by the city's administration had tried and failed to fix it. Maya studied the system, noting flaws in the pipes, pumps, and the energy delivery units. She spent hours analyzing data, running simulations, and designing a solution that combined robotics, sensors, and automated energy distribution. Her plan worked perfectly. Water flowed steadily to every home, and residents celebrated. Maya's small invention had made life easier for thousands. For her, it was not glory, only a sense of responsibility fulfilled. However, not everyone was pleased. Some of the city's elite felt uneasy about her growing influence. A few business leaders attempted to discredit her work, claiming that she relied on their resources. They argued that her inventions could destabilize the carefully managed economy of Nova Orion. Yet, Maya's transparency and ethical approach silenced most critics. She shared her designs openly, showing the public how each device worked. Her integrity became as impressive as her intelligence. Alaric, once her critic, had now become her mentor in many ways. He taught her advanced mathematics, engineering principles, and strategies for large-scale implementation. But he also learned from her. He watched as she approached problems with creativity, humility, and moral clarity. Her perspective reminded him of the power of thinking beyond wealth and status. One afternoon, while testing a new energy drone designed to deliver supplies to remote areas, Maya noticed something unusual. A group of young scientists from another city were attempting to replicate her designs without permission. They were well-funded and aggressive, hoping to claim her inventions as their own. Maya did not panic. Instead, she approached them calmly. "Innovation is not a competition," she said. "If you wish to help people, work together. If you wish to take ideas without understanding them, the results will fail." Her words carried authority. The group hesitated, realizing that her understanding was deeper than theirs. Maya offered to guide them, teaching proper design and application. Reluctantly, they accepted. Over time, some of them became her allies, helping implement her inventions in areas that had never seen technological advancement. As her influence expanded, Maya faced another challenge, balancing her work with her education and personal life. She was still a child, with a curiosity for books, exploration, and simple joys. She spent her evenings reading about distant planets, studying alien languages, and imagining possibilities that others dismissed as impossible. Her mind was a storm of ideas, constantly seeking new knowledge, yet she never lost sight of her mission. She understood that intelligence alone was not enough. It had to be applied for the benefit of others. The people of the lower district began to rely on her guidance, trusting her to improve their lives. Maya felt a deep sense of responsibility, but also fulfillment. She realized that her abilities could create lasting change, transforming not only the city, but also the way people thought about intelligence, opportunity, and morality. Alaric noticed the transformation within Maya. What had started as a simple chess game had grown into something much greater. She had become a symbol of hope, ingenuity, and integrity. He reflected on his own journey, acknowledging that wealth and power were meaningless without purpose. He had underestimated the young girl who had once served him drinks, and now he watched her reshape the future of Nova Orion. One evening, as Maya walked through the lower district after a long day at the lab, children ran to greet her. They showed her small inventions, robots, and designs they had created, inspired by her teachings. Maya smiled, guiding them, correcting small errors, and encouraging their creativity. The district that had once been forgotten and neglected was now alive with curiosity and progress. Maya paused on a small hill overlooking the city, the lights of Nova Orion sparkling below. She thought about her journey so far. From a quiet girl delivering drinks, to a chess prodigy who challenged a billionaire. To a young inventor changing lives, her path had been extraordinary. She felt the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of discovery. Her mind was ready for the challenges ahead, knowing that true genius was measured not by what one could take, but by what one could give. Alaric, watching her from his tower, realized that the child he had once mocked was now a force he could not ignore. He knew that Nova Orion was entering a new era, one shaped by intelligence, compassion, and courage. Maya's hidden genius was no longer hidden. It had been unleashed, and the city, would never be the same again. As night fell over Nova Orion, the stars reflected the same brilliance that shone in Maya's mind. She looked up, imagining possibilities beyond her city, beyond her planet. The future was wide and open, and she was ready to explore it. Maya's reputation had spread across Nova Orion like wildfire. She was no longer just the Black Maid's daughter who defeated a billionaire at chess. She had become a symbol of hope and intelligence, inspiring children and adults alike. Her inventions had begun to transform the lower district, giving people access to energy, clean water, and technology they had never imagined. But with recognition came challenges. The city's elite began to take notice. While some admired Maya's abilities, others saw her as a threat. They feared a child from the lower district, unbound by wealth or social rules, could disrupt the carefully controlled order they had maintained for decades. Rival businessmen whispered about ways to claim her work for themselves, and some of Alaric's competitors tried to offer Maya resources and positions. Hoping to draw her away, Maya was aware of the tension, but she remained focused. She worked in Alaric's corporate lab, her small hands moving over complex machines, her eyes shining with concentration. Robots designed to assist the elderly, drones programmed to repair infrastructure, energy modules that powered entire neighborhoods were all her creations. She supervised the projects herself, testing, adjusting, improving with precision. One morning, she was joined by a group of young engineers from the lower district who wanted to learn. They had built a small vehicle designed to deliver supplies to hard-to-reach areas, but it had problems with stability. Maya studied their design carefully. She measured angles, checked weight distribution, and examined the motors. Within minutes, she suggested a simple adjustment to the placement of the wheels and the programming of the motors. The vehicle worked perfectly. The children cheered, their faces lighting up with excitement. Maya smiled. "Remember," she said, "a small change can make a big difference. Think carefully before acting, and always test your ideas." Word of her achievements spread quickly. The lower district thrived under her guidance. Homes that had lacked electricity for years now glowed warmly at night. Streets that had been dark and unsafe were lit by small, energy-efficient lights she had designed. Children learned to experiment, solve problems, and create. Even adults, inspired by her example, began to approach problems differently. Meanwhile, Alaric observed Maya closely. He had once thought he could mentor her, but now he realized that she was shaping the world around him as much as he was influencing her. Her ideas were practical, moral, and revolutionary. He began to involve her in larger projects, showing her the challenges faced by the upper district, where complex systems controlled commerce, energy, and transportation. One afternoon, he presented her with a problem that had puzzled his engineers for months. The city's main energy grid had inefficiencies that caused frequent blackouts in distant districts. Engineers had tried adjusting the system, but their methods failed to resolve the issue. Alaric looked at Maya, curiosity and hope in his eyes. "I want you to try," he said. "You have a perspective we don't have. You see what others miss?" Maya studied the grid, analyzing flow patterns, energy loss, and distribution systems. She identified points where energy was being wasted due to outdated routing and poor sensor alignment. She proposed installing small modules that could regulate energy flow automatically and coordinate with local power units. The engineers were skeptical, but Maya insisted. With her guidance, the team installed the modules and reprogrammed the system. When the energy grid was reactivated, the results were immediate. Power reached every home without interruption, and the city experienced its first fully stable energy day in years. The engineers stared in disbelief. Maya had solved a problem that had baffled professionals for months. Not everyone was pleased. Some members of the upper district saw Maya's growing influence as a threat to their control. They attempted to claim her work, offering her wealth and prestige if she joined their ranks. Maya refused politely, explaining that her goal was not personal gain, but improving life for everyone. Alaric defended her, recognizing the value of her integrity and intellect. "Maya works for people, not for power," he said during a council meeting of city leaders. Her ideas improve society. That is what true intelligence should do. Despite opposition, Maya continued to innovate. She created mobile medical units equipped with robots to assist doctors in remote neighborhoods. Drones were programmed to monitor construction sites, preventing accidents. She also developed communication devices that allowed residents of distant areas to report problems directly to city administrators. Streamlining response times and improving living conditions, the city began to see changes beyond the lower district. People started to recognize that intelligence, creativity, and moral responsibility were as important as wealth or status. The elite could no longer ignore the contributions of a 12-year-old girl from the streets. Maya's example challenged the old systems, proving that brilliance could emerge from any background. One evening, while testing a new transport drone, Maya noticed unusual activity near the city's upper district. A group of corporate agents from a rival company was attempting to replicate her inventions. They moved quickly, dismantling old machines to understand the designs. Maya approached them calmly. "Take the time to understand," she said. "Machines are not just objects. They are solutions. If you copy without comprehension, your results will fail." Words had weight. The agents paused, realizing that her understanding went beyond manuals and diagrams. They asked her to teach them, and over time, some became her allies, learning proper design, ethics, and application. Maya's influence began to bridge the gap between the lower and upper districts. She encouraged collaboration, sharing knowledge with those willing to learn and improving systems that affected everyone. Her actions challenged the city's elite to rethink their assumptions about intelligence, class, and responsibility. Alaric watched quietly, proud but thoughtful. He realized that the girl he had once mocked was now shaping the city's future in ways he had never imagined. He began to trust her judgment more, involving her in strategic decisions, learning from her unconventional approaches. One afternoon, Maya was presented with a particularly difficult challenge. A new district under construction required an energy network, transportation system, and water supply. The engineers assigned to the project were skilled, but they lacked a comprehensive plan. Maya studied the blueprints, analyzed the terrain, and created a modular system that integrated energy, transport, and water efficiently. Her plan worked flawlessly. Construction proceeded faster, costs were reduced, and the new district thrived from the moment it was completed. City officials were amazed. Maya's innovations were transforming urban planning, proving that intelligence combined with compassion and creativity could achieve results beyond expectation, but challenges continued. Rival corporations tried to undermine her work by spreading false rumors and attempting to discredit her achievements. Maya remained undeterred. She focused on transparency, demonstrating her methods publicly and showing the positive impact of her inventions. The people trusted her. Their support became her strongest defense. Maya also taught her students to think critically and act ethically. She showed them that true innovation required responsibility, honesty, and care for those affected by technology. The younger generation began to embrace her teachings, creating a culture of creativity and integrity. One evening, while observing the city from the lab, Maya reflected on her journey. She had gone from a quiet girl in the lower district to a young genius shaping the future of Nova Orion. Her inventions were improving lives, bridging social gaps, and inspiring a new way of thinking. She knew that challenges would continue, but she was ready. Alaric joined her, looking out at the glowing city below. "You have changed more than machines," he said softly. "You have changed the way people see themselves and each other." And Maya nodded. "We all have potential. We just need guidance, opportunity, and the courage to act." Alaric smiled. "And you have given them all three?" As night fell, the city sparkled with life. Energy flowed through every district, drones patrolled streets, and people moved with confidence. Maya's hidden genius had been unleashed, transforming Nova Orion from a city divided by wealth into a place of progress, hope, and possibility. Her journey was far from over. Challenges from rivals, unexpected crises, and new inventions awaited. But Maya faced them with calm determination. She knew that intelligence, creativity, and morality were the keys to building a better future, and she was ready to lead by example. For the people of Nova Orion, the Black Maid's daughter was no longer just a girl. She was a force of change, a symbol of human potential, and proof that true genius could emerge from anywhere. The collision of worlds between wealth and poverty, power and intellect was transforming the city, and Maya was at its center, guiding it toward a brighter future. Maya had grown accustomed to the hum of the lab, the soft whirring of machines, and the quiet excitement of discovery. Over the months, her projects had expanded far beyond what anyone had imagined. Energy modules lit entire districts, medical drones assisted hospitals, and transport systems moved supplies quickly and efficiently. The lower district, once neglected, now thrived under her influence, and even the upper districts began to take notice. Yet for Maya, the work was never about recognition or praise. She moved with purpose, solving problems one by one. Inspired by the knowledge that her inventions improved the lives of thousands, she knew that intelligence alone was not enough. It had to be paired with moral responsibility, careful planning, and compassion. One morning, Alaric Dane called her to his office. The city below shimmered in the early sunlight, its streets alive with movement. "Maya," he said, "we face a crisis that will test everything you have created so far." Maya listened attentively. Alaric explained that a massive energy shortage was predicted due to an unexpected solar storm that could disrupt the city's power grid for days. Hospitals, schools, and homes would be affected, and without intervention, chaos could spread. Maya's mind raced. She analyzed the data, considering every variable: energy storage capacities, drone deployment, backup systems, and communication networks. Within minutes, she had a plan. "We will distribute power using the mobile modules and drones," she said. "The drones can supply energy to the most critical areas first, while the modular systems stabilize the grid. We can also deploy temporary units to ensure no one is left without power." Alaric nodded, impressed. "You have anticipated every challenge before it occurs." Maya coordinated the efforts meticulously. Her drones took flight, carrying energy modules to hospitals and community centers. Robots repaired power lines damaged by the storm's early effects. Sensors monitored every sector of the city, alerting her team to potential failures. The citizens watched in amazement as technology moved seamlessly to protect them, guided by the young genius at its center. By nightfall, the storm had passed and Nova Orion remained fully operational. The citizens cheered, grateful for the safety and security Maya's inventions had provided. Alaric watched from his tower, a mixture of pride and admiration in his eyes. He had once mocked the girl who delivered drinks, and now she had saved the city. But Maya's work did not stop there. She recognized that crises were opportunities to improve systems for the future. She analyzed the storm's impact and designed new energy storage units capable of withstanding extreme solar activity. She programmed drones to predict and respond to emergencies, creating a resilient network that would protect the city for years to come as her influence expanded. Maya also focused on teaching. She created workshops for children and young adults from all districts, sharing her knowledge of robotics, energy systems, and problem solving. She encouraged curiosity, experimentation, and critical thinking. The students learned quickly, inspired not only by her intelligence, but also by her dedication to ethical and practical solutions. "Remember," she told them one afternoon, "the goal of knowledge is not to impress or control. It is to help others, solve problems, and make life better. Every invention, every idea, every action should have purpose." Her students absorbed the lesson. Some built robots to deliver medicine to remote areas. Others designed systems to improve water distribution in struggling neighborhoods. A new generation of thinkers and creators was emerging, motivated by Maya's example. Even the city's elite could no longer ignore her achievements. They had tried to challenge her influence, offer rewards, and even co-opt her work. But Maya's transparency and moral clarity kept her above their schemes. Alaric Dane, once her mocker, now stood proudly beside her, advocating for her vision and supporting her projects. One afternoon, A council meeting of the city's leaders was held to discuss urban development. Maya was invited to present her ideas. She outlined a comprehensive plan for integrating energy, water, transport, and communication systems across all districts. Her proposals were practical, sustainable, and designed to benefit everyone, not just the wealthy. The leaders were amazed. Some whispered about her age, barely believing that a 12-year-old could comprehend such complex systems. Others listened quietly, realizing that she was presenting solutions that even the most experienced engineers had not imagined. Alaric spoke on her behalf. Maya has shown us that intelligence is not about wealth, status, or connections. It is about creativity, careful thought, and the courage to act ethically. Her ideas can transform Nova Orion, and we must support her vision. The council agreed. Funding, resources, and cooperation were pledged, and Maya's systems began to expand citywide. Energy distribution became fully automated and reliable. Medical units reached remote districts with precision. Communication networks allowed residents to report problems directly, enabling faster response times. The city had become more efficient, equitable, and resilient. Thanks to the brilliance of a single child, as her influence grew, Maya faced a new challenge: ensuring her legacy would last. She realized that systems alone were not enough. Knowledge had to be shared, and minds had to be trained. She began establishing schools focused on science, technology, and ethics. Students learned not only about machines, but also about problem-solving, moral responsibility, and leadership. Maya worked tirelessly, mentoring young minds who showed promise. She guided them, corrected mistakes, and celebrated successes. She taught them that intelligence should never be used for selfish gain, but for the benefit of society. Slowly, a culture of curiosity, integrity, and innovation spread throughout the city. One evening, Maya stood on a balcony overlooking Nova Orion. The city lights reflected her own sense of accomplishment and purpose. She thought about her journey. A girl from the lower district, underestimated by a billionaire, had now transformed a city and inspired thousands. The weight of responsibility was heavy, but it was also exhilarating. Alaric joined her silently. "You have changed everything," he said softly. "Not just machines, not just districts, but how people think. You have shown that intelligence, courage, and morality are more powerful than wealth or status." Maya looked at him, her eyes calm but bright. "We all have potential," she said. "We just need the chance to learn, the courage to act, and the responsibility to do what is right." Alaric smiled. "And you have given them all three. You have led by example, and the city will never forget it." In the days that followed, Maya's influence continued to grow. Her schools trained new engineers and inventors. Her energy and medical systems expanded to surrounding districts and neighboring cities. People began to see a future where intelligence and creativity, rather than wealth alone, determined success. Even the elite came to respect her. They saw that wealth was limited, but ingenuity and moral vision were limitless. Alaric Dane, once proud and arrogant, had learned humility and the value of collaboration. He continued to mentor Maya, not as a superior, but as a partner in progress. Maya's work also inspired other children from the lower district. They experimented, learned, and contributed to projects. Robots were built, drones were programmed, and energy systems improved, all guided by the principles Maya had instilled: observation, careful thought, creativity, and ethical responsibility. One day, the city faced a massive storm threatening to flood districts and disrupt power. Maya's systems responded flawlessly. Drones reinforced barriers, robots transported supplies, energy modules ensured homes remained lit. Residents watched in awe as the city, once vulnerable, stood strong against nature's force. Maya's genius had created resilience. As the storm passed, the citizens celebrated. They recognized the young girl who had transformed their lives. Maya, however, remained humble. She thanked her team, her students, and Alaric for their support, emphasizing that progress was always a collective effort. By the time she turned 13, Maya had established herself as the brightest mind in Nova Orion. Her influence extended beyond technology. She had changed how people thought, bridging social divides, inspiring children and adults, and proving that brilliance was not determined by wealth or background. Her legacy was clear: intelligence, courage, and compassion could transform lives. The lower district, once neglected, had become a hub of innovation. The city's elite had learned humility and respect. Young minds were inspired to dream, invent, and act ethically. One evening, Maya stood in the city square surrounded by her students and the people whose lives she had touched. Drones flew overhead delivering supplies. Energy modules glowed warmly, and the city hummed with life. She smiled, realizing that this was only the beginning. Alaric stood beside her, proud and humbled. "You have done what no one thought possible," he said. "You have transformed a city, a society, and the way people see themselves. You are a true genius, Maya, and your work will last for generations." Maya looked at the glowing city, the faces of people who believed in her, and her students eager to learn. "This is only the start," she said. "There is always more to learn, more to create, and more to give. Intelligence is not just about thinking. It is about acting, helping, and inspiring others."